You want to talk about the big one since we're on the subject of people crippling themselves, because it's not limited to AEW or, in Jacob Fatu's case, non-wrestling injuries. Being a safe fell on his fucking head. Seth Franklin Rollins. Boy, tell you what, as Bobby Eaton would have said, he burnt the bread on himself when Bobby Eaton would never sit in a wheelchair. Did you know that about Bobby?
I did not. I don't, didn't know how many times he's been offered a wheelchair and said, no, I can't do that.
No, here's the thing. A lot of times, imagine there was always a wheelchair sitting around Smoky Mountain TV because of Ron Wright, right? Wheelchairs in a wrestling angle or just anytime you're anywhere around a wheelchair. He is bad luck sitting in a wheelchair if you don't need it, right? And of course, in black cats crossing his path made him nervous unless he X'd the windshield. And all those, but in this case, the prophecy came true. Art, life has imitated art. They fucked around and lied to people about Seth Rollins being hurt so he could do the big cash in. And now the son of a bitch is really hurt. Nobody believes it.
Well, again, it just happened a few months ago where it appeared to be an obvious knee injury in the middle of a match. It appeared they changed the finish on the spot. Then there was an issue with the timing of the match after it.
Rotten television is what it appeared like it was.
And it screwed up the Goldberg match, a lot of people thought, after it. And then it turned out that was a ruse, and he was just trying to screw CM Punk.
And they actually really did just screw up the Goldberg match independently.
That's right.
Independently of the goddamn bad angle.
And now this time, he did that corner-to-corner spot that Shane McMahon and Rob Van Dam, I guess, are the two most famous people maybe the two only people. Who else has done that move?
Well, but nobody did this. It was a diving headbutt rather than the drop kick, which is what did him in. But, and here's the thing, and I go back to the Ibushi injury, which again, we covered how it happened, but it's the same type of thing. If the Ibushi injury hadn't happened, what were they going to do, right? Alexander's going to pick him up over his shoulders in a fireman's carry, and maybe he's going to give him the big whoop-de-doo off the, suplex off Death Valley Driver, off the second rope, kick out at 2, or maybe Ibushi was going to slip it and fucking throw Alexander off or whatever. The point is, whatever they were going to do, Brian, if Ibushi is going to be out of the ring for 2 years, would people have remembered that bump by the time he gets back in the ring? In 2 years from now, if they'd have done it successfully, would people still remember it?
Maybe.
That one specific bump?
On Collision?
Yes.
I don't know if anyone's going to really remember that bump.
Exactly. They were just they were setting up another trick, another stunt, another big move, or whatever. Oh, the people are popping a false finish. But nobody, because it's a show that few people watch, and it's a show filled with everybody setting those type of things up. The chances of anybody, they might remember the match, and they might remember whoever won, Alexander or Ibushi, and blah, blah, blah. I remember that being a good match. They might remember it that way, but that one specific bump that obviously had a degree of difficulty to set up, and with someone not cooperating made it worse, and just the phoniness of the time it takes to get them up there in balance, and nobody's trying to get away. The return on that was not going to be worth it to begin with if they'd have done that, or if they'd have done the same match that they did and were going to do after that point and left that one thing out. Everybody'd still be walking around and nobody would have fucking remembered if they'd even seen that bump, because it was just one of many. It's the same principle with Seth Rollins and Cody's match. And I know I've been a performer, even though thankfully back in my day, you didn't have to dive off the top rope out on the fucking furniture or out in the fans or do all the whatever the fuck. But you want to do shit to get yourself over with people and get your match over and make them remember you and give them their money's worth. So you can't just say, I'm not going to do anything dangerous. And it's inherently all dangerous, depending on how skillfully or unskillfully it's performed. But there again, why out of nowhere? He's never done it before. And would you, if he had hit the diving headbutt from one turnbuckle to another on Cody, that might be more memorable than what Alexander and Ibushi were trying to do by a long measure. But it's still, if you'd have taken that out of the match they had, nobody would have missed it, and they still did enough. They did more than enough. But one would, it would, the reason why I think that nobody's ever, because again, I don't think anybody's ever done a diving headbutt from corner to corner. And think about it, if you can do a drop kick, it almost might be easier to do the drop kick corner to corner than the diving headbutt. But nevertheless, his shoulders or his neck or something, unless he just intended to ram straight into goddamn Cody and let Cody's body absorb all the impact, and even that, where did he think the stress was going to be alleviated of diving from one corner of the ring to the other, trying to simulate striking a person while landing safely without breaking your fucking arms or your shoulder or your neck or something? If they had taken that out, then they would still be on the track for all the plans that they had, and to turn Braun Breaker in 2026 and to have these big matches that they had set up with Seth and Punk and WrestleMania and Seth and Roman and whatever, because of exactly what we've been talking about. And what I've been saying with Cena is they've got to the point where every time they fuck themselves up at the top level, it costs the company millions of dollars. So I know that you need to do some shit, but was that particular thing like that, was it necessary? In the story and context of the match, that he had to try that one? It was like Brock doing the shooting star press at WrestleMania and land on his fucking head. If he'd have just got the one fucking thing.
No, it wasn't like that, because Brock actually did hit it before. It may not have been the right time to do it, but at least
that's true.
Hit it.
That's true.
Rollins, we just recently, maybe a month or two ago, did a segment about how much I don't like the diving headbutt. And we talked a little bit about who gets hurt and how it all happens. And then you see this. When we did the review, I told you there were two matches I wasn't crazy about for the same reason, but they're very different. Cena, AJ, Rollins, and Cody, I thought they were both silly. But Cena and AJ had a kids in the basement match with a hungry crowd who were popping for everything.
Yeah.
And if you think of all the moves they did, all the callbacks to Jericho or Undertaker or whoever,
safe.
Everything was safe. That's exactly what I was going to say. And meanwhile, Rollins is one of these guys, I think he may feel the urge in himself to push it further than he has to. Just work a match. Just work a match and have a finish. But everyone's into doing crazier and crazier stuff. And this isn't even amongst the craziest things, but just, like you said, unnecessary. And at some point in the process of laying out the match, which is what they do, someone should have said, A, that may not hit. B, it may not look good. See why. Why do we need to do any of this? And there you go.
And well, and also the trajectory is hard for a headbutt, and that's why he landed when he came down on the kind of the left side, left arm, left shoulder, whatever. It's because he was trying to turn in to hit Cody without hitting Cody, but it just so
Rollins can't stay healthy. I mean, that's the other big takeaway.
well, he really was legitimately hurt a while back with a knee injury, and that's why I get nervous every time he does that stomp, because it's got to be putting some kind of stress on the knee. But now he's got a bad wing and a bad wheel, as they say in the terminology of the industry. Oh boy!
Well, good luck, Franklin.
Here's the thing: this was not this. What they are doing now is not what this business was for over 100 years, and they're finding out why. And I'm sorry that if that poops in everybody's post toasties, but you can't do shit like this. Oh, and even once a week or whatever the fuck, or once a month or whatever it may be, and expect to do it for very long. So, I hate to be right, but I always am. Somehow it turns out that way.
I mean, who's going to make the call? Who's going to do anything? Because obviously we're talking AEW, we're talking WWE. Sometimes it's an accident. Often it's an accident. But still, you can prevent accidents sometimes. But other times it's just wear and tear or body parts not holding up to the modern style. Tony ain't going to be that guy. Triple H, I would guess, would be that guy, but I don't know if they will have the conversation. Everyone needs to tone it back. The matches are great, we like them, but we can't keep losing guys that we're investing time and money in every few months because the injuries are more and more frequent.
Oh, you know what they need, Brian? I'll tell you what Seth needs right now that would make him feel a lot better. As a matter of fact, it's clinically tested and third-party blind people approved that CBD gummies can not only heal your bones, but also make your ligaments regrow.
Well, I don't know if any of that's true. Third-party blind people. I mean, you got me right there at the beginning.
Yes, that's blind people that I don't actually know them, but I know people who know them, and that's what they say. So that's what they tell me.
Oh, they're telling you this?
Yes. That's why it's third-party blind people tested and approved.
I didn't realize the results were being delivered to you. This is news we're breaking here.
Yes, well, I asked some people that was hanging around in the parking lot over at Paul's Market the other day. They told me they'd get back to me. They went to the old folks' home, and they talked to some of the old folks sitting out on their porch. But folks, I'll tell you what, if you want the CBD or the any part of the hemp plant, including probably seeds at some point in the future, go to cornbreadhemp.com right now, cornbreadhemp.com, and stock up, because, Brian, have you heard what our old friend down here in Kentucky is trying to do? Old Mitch McConnell, who just took another bump in the Senate basement yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to say, what he's trying to do, what is that, stand up?
Oh, yeah, he's actually standing up against what he was standing up for about 6 or 7 years ago. This cretinous humanoid, before he shuffles off of the mortal coil of the Senate and goes to decompose in his crypt, a number of years ago, he signed a bill for the hemp plant and the hemp industry in Kentucky and legalizing things so that our friends at Cornbread Hemp, who are now sponsoring the University of Louisville Athletics and now a sponsor of our program and have been named one of the fastest rising businesses in the United States. And the hemp industry employs thousands of people here in Kentucky now. Actually, I don't know which now there's more of in the state of Kentucky, people in the coal mining business or people in the hemp business. And guess what Mitch McConnell's trying to do before he retires next year? signed a bill outlawing all the hemp shit.
Why?
Because I swear to God, this was on the TV news the other day, and from his own chicken lips. He said it's been called to his attention by some Karen somewhere, or some of these Republican fanatics. It's been called to his attention that children are getting a hold of these products that can be eaten, and these things are stronger than even the illicit drugs that you find on the street.
Oh, come on. Whoa,
bullshit. I know. Hey, I don't know about your cousin Betty's brownies, but nothing that cornbread hemp has been fucking manufacturing or selling to the public can send you to the hospital or make you call 911 on yourself. They're packaged and so professionally that it would be difficult for children to get in them. They're clearly marked. And if your kids ate them, I don't believe they would be sent down the road to ruin to being heroin addicts in an alleyway somewhere. But this fucking old, senile, vapid, vacant-headed human shell is now they're going to try to push this bill through. I think it may be nationwide because, he is the grim reaper of bills in the Senate. So stock up on your cornbread hemp products is what I'm saying, because he who gaveth is now trying to taketh away and throw thousands of people in the state of Kentucky into unemployment and take away everybody's CBD gummies from cornbread hemp, along with all our other products, which, as you know, folks, are specially formulated to help relieve discomfort, stress, and sleeplessness, which is what Mitch McConnell's been giving people in the state of Kentucky for 40 years now. So anyway, you want to save 30% on your first order of cornbread hemp because of me and Brian and our show, and stick it to the man. And fuck these fucking Republican assholes with their bills. Unless it's a goddamn duck bill because they've been crossed with a fucking platypus. Go to cornbreadhemp.com/JCE and use the code JCE at checkout and stock up on your first order. You're going to get 30% off. And while it is your right as a free adult American to do something else, get it and keep it. This stuff, it's packaged in airtight containers. So it'll keep for a while. But before you lose the opportunity to do something else because cousin Betty can't keep her goddamn brownies clearly marked and away from the fucking kiddies.
And again, with cornbread hemp, these are great products. These are products that are professionally packaged and nothing looks like it's for children. It's pretty clear what it's for, and their CBD products are fantastic. We love them here at Castle Cornette.
And see, you can't get that's the thing. CBD is a derivative of the hemp industry as well, even though they're talking about these goddamn massively powerful fucking weed gummies formulated in goddamn Sault Ste. Marie somewhere and shipped around in the wheel well of a fucking VW bus. But all your shit goes. The CBD gummy, unless there is a competitive eating contest for CBD gummies, I don't think you can get sick on them. Even a kid. That's the point, is everything is being blanket taken away from you because some people and their ill-gotten gains misusing their various resources.
Well, tell Mitch to take a nap and support cornbread hemp one more time, Jim. With a lot of drama, what's that promo code?
I'd rather tell him to take another dive. Save 30% on your first order at cornbreadhemp.com/JCE. Use the code JCE at checkout. Tell them we sent you and we believe in the freedom of all Americans to have relief from discomfort, stress, and sleeplessness, and other things that follow in those same categories. cornbreadhemp.com.